but then practicing the questions, it's just helping me understand their situation and how can I better serve them and how can I be there for them.
So the more
with these questions.
you know what to say, the less you have to focus on what to say and now focus on them and figuring out what they want.
Yes.
100% agree on that.
Can I throw something on there as well? If you know what you want, if you have a deep connection to knowing what you want, what your purpose is, you have a greater ability to help your clients get the thing.
This is where I'm trying to go with this. Obviously, this can be great, but it can sure mess us up often. And it screws us up far more than we think it needs to be. Every one of us, myself included, focuses too much on what do I say? Okay? When I first got into this industry, I got my license before George. And I had to know what I was talking about. You'll often hear George talk about the same thing. Like, he can say that the sky is black when in fact it's blue, and the way he's like, oh yeah, it's the best black sky I've ever seen. Everyone's like, oh it is, it's amazing, I'm over there. What are you guys agreeing to? It's blue! But yet he says it very convincingly, right? So when I got in the industry, I can't remember if it was a couple of months before I got before George got his. When I'm having to learn the scripts, I had to know the documents, had to know what I was talking about before I could actually go to say so. Keep in mind, we're also in our early 20s. We're young, and some of you might be in that position, but we're going in, and he passes his test, gets his license, and he goes and knocks on a door and basically takes a listing for a mobile home, and I'm just like, you have no idea what you're even talking about. And he goes and takes the business. So there's a fine balance. I'm not suggesting that not knowing what to say is not important. Obviously, you need to know what to say so you don't screw up. And it was a mobile home that he listed, and he didn't know that when you might buy a mobile home, that you actually have sales tax. So he had a learning curve when he did the business, but finding that balance of, yes, knowing what you're talking about is important, but also it's not the most important thing. Go out and portray how you talk about it, because this is where I'm going with it. You've all seen it. The words we say equal 7% what people are actually hearing. The people we're talking to, 7% of our words are sinking in. All of us agreed that I don't know what to say, but if I knew what to say, I'd solve the majority of my problems. When in reality, it's not the most important thing. George proves it every day. And you guys all bite. Right? Because he's very good at the other stuff. Right? The tone. How he delivers the message. When to pause. When to run on to the next word, the next thought, the next sentence. Your enthusiasm, that's body language if you didn't get it. Your enthusiasm, your energy, your ability to deliver what you're backing has the greater weight. So for those of you that are prospecting on the phone, already you're only working with 45% of your ability to communicate. So it's more difficult. You got to find that 45%. Are you listening to the things that are being said? Are you picking up on the nonverbals or the tone or something that they're saying that you're able to mirror and match when you're communicating back with them? Because that's what's going to grab the attention versus, oh, I didn't know the 3 words that I had to use here. Now, does that help? Yes, it does. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't. And the idea, if I do know what to say, I'm able to focus less on that and now more on the other individual. Agree 100%. So that's why practicing the scripts, knowing the scripts, that it just, when something comes up, it just comes off naturally. And you might not do it perfectly. But I guarantee there's a word called authentic that has tremendous power and value. When someone feels that you're authentic and you make a mistake, heavens, I don't know what I was thinking about. I totally told you the wrong information. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not this, it's that. Do you think that person, if you were to do that, do you think the person you're talking to would trust you more? If they're like, oh, yeah, we all make mistakes, but how we handle those mistakes are what are critical. Don't get lost on the words. I'm not suggesting don't practice, don't apply yourself, don't learn the information. Absolutely do it. But don't let your mind tell you that this is what is standing in the way of you succeeding. Now, maybe I should put it this, because this whole thing is talking about communication. That's the better thing. Knowing what to say. Because how you say it, how you deliver it, has a greater weight than everything else. Agreed?
Agreed, yes.
Anyone not agree? I want to see hands. I want to see that hallelujah. Come on, hallelujah! Oh, my heavens! Get nothing. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Oh, okay. That was it. All right.
I was agreeing with you.
All right. Perfect. All right. We got some action there. There we go. Curtis.
With knowing what to say, George has said many times, and I think this was one of the first things that when I came over that he was coaching on is, don't just always aim. Ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, shoot. Ready, aim, shoot. Ready, aim, shoot. Don't just sit there and always make sure that you know exactly what to say or know exactly what to do. You got to go through a learning process. Part of that learning process is saying.
I agree with it. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Well, you and Amari hit on it perfectly. It's what questions I'm asking, right? And however many times, and I've had to tell myself this, I've told myself, well, I listen better than other people, and that's how I know what to say. But I don't. A lot of us think that we truly are listening, but you mentioned it. When you hear a pause, I mean, it's not something that our mind is picking up. It's something that we as people, as human beings, pick up when there's a pause. And that's why when George goes to the door, or that's why when another individual that follows up with that same person that you didn't get the appointment with can get the appointment. So one thing that I'm learning more and more, which has been a really big deal for me, is people will allow you to lead them when they trust you. We all know that. But they trust you when they feel that you understand them. And for them to feel that you understand them, it's asking the right questions. And naturally when you do that, that's when you become versatile and authentic in every one of those situations, and then they allow you to lead them, where they won't allow someone else to do that. And the only two ways you're going to do that is either if you're brand new to the business, you ask questions and you truly listen, and you know how to show up, you know how to respond because you're listening. And then the second thing is, if you talk to enough people within that segment, you begin to identify with that segment and know how to present. So
Awesome. One thing I would highly suggest, downstairs on the second floor, we have a lot of stand-up cubicles. That area was created for one purpose. I guess you could say two, but the first one you could say, cause you to be a little uncomfortable. Prospect in that location, because what it's going to do, it's going to increase your learning curve at such a more substantial rate. The idea was mentioned where when we used to prospect, we would prospect right next to each other, 4 or 6 people in a circle. And I always hear, oh, I can't call those leads because they've already been called. My heavens. The 6 of us were calling the same 24 sell-by owners every single day, every single morning. And you'd hope that you get it first, because we always felt that was the easiest crack. But if you didn't set the appointment, you knew that the other 5 people were going to call the same person. And all of a sudden, one of them set the appointment, and you're just like, how the heck did you do that? You wanted to be the person that set the appointment on the person that didn't set the appointment. And it happened every single every single time. But the lesson that we learned from doing that is, because we were prospecting right next to each other every single time, is I got to learn phrases and things to say and how to say it that I never would have thought of myself. Some of those things, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't say that. I'll never use that one. It's true. But, and I'm sure people thought the same thing of something that came out of my mouth. They're like, it just isn't going to work for me. But, doesn't mean that it doesn't work. You will learn so much faster if you get out of your whatever the little room or barrier that you're creating, because you don't want somebody to hear what you're saying because you're afraid of what they may think. Let me just ask you this question. Would you rather be afraid of what someone is thinking and you not learn anything, or would you rather make $15,000? I'm guessing everyone here rather throw that. They're okay to put their pride away if they can make 15 grand faster and they can do it more consistently. Because if you're the person that is afraid, does not want to prospect out in the open that everyone can hear, because you're worried about what someone may think about you, your pride is costing you thousands of dollars. Throw that crap away. Get out there in the open, prospect next to someone. Whether they want you there or not, they need you there and you need them. Stand out of your way. Ruby said at the beginning, be prepared for change. The faster you're able to be prepared for change, the faster you're going to figure this business out. Okay?
You mentioned that when we're on our phone, our body language is visible, and that absolutely is true. The other reason we have the pit is because we stand up, we smile, even though it's not visible, our body language will come through in our
With the actions.
tone.
That's correct.
And we were able to call each other out when our body language wasn't correct.
That's what the stand-up cubicles were designed for, the purpose of when you're standing up, your shoulders are back, you've got more air that's being brought into your body, you're automatically, your physical state is at a better position than it were.
It changes
if you're
your energy.
Changes everything. If you're sitting back hunched over, your energy level is not even close to as what it needs to be. So since you are on the phone, in order to take advantage of not physically being in front of them, you're trying to put yourself in a better physical state. Thank you, John, for mentioning that. A better physical state so you can have a higher percentage of converting that versus sitting down and not participating in it. So there is an actual plan behind all this craziness that you hear on every single day. There actually has been some thought that has been put in place. So take advantage of it. Okay? Any other thoughts?
Not about this, but this was great. We are going to bell ring. We are going to bell ring with the South.
That would be part of this tone type stuff.
Well, I will tell you, because I started on the second floor, and I was down there in the cubicles on the second floor. John was behind me. Alma was on the other side, Stephanie Barnes. And I not only learned what to say, but what not to say.
Yeah.
It was awesome,
Yeah.
and I do quite miss that, and I should get back over there, but
Every one of us
it is
should.
awesome, and it was so uncomfortable for me to yak over there out loud. I'm like, but it was really, really good.
And it's a good reminder because body language changes your tone, no matter what you're doing.
Like with bounce balls, we had a little
Yeah.
bell we'd ring when we got an appointment. We had a lot of fun over
Trampolines.
there.
I had a golf club with a golf
Yeah.
ball that I kept bouncing around.
We had a good time, and I do love it, and I stood up all the time. Now I'm over there sitting in my office doing nothing. But this was good. We, as the Everest Community Foundation, are bell ringing, and it took me a minute to get it all together, but it's the 19th, Thursday, right down here, where am I? At Smith's
Okay.
on Fort Union. and it's from 11 to 7. I've only got Chris, I don't think he's here.
He's right over there,
I've only
yeah.
got one person signed, not that Chris, the other Chris.
Oh.
I told you I'd sign up.
Yes, I know, and I just barely got it set up, and I know Mike wants to, so
Okay.
I'm gonna be walking around. I would like 2 people at each time, so it's just a 1-hour commitment, and it saves the Salvation Army hundreds of dollars because they pay bell ringers. So if I get a lot of
This
response,
is what, the 5th year we've done it, or
it is.
something like that? 5th
It
year we've done
has,
it?
What day is it, Brenda?
It's been good. It's the
19th.
19th, which is Thursday, right here at Smith's. They provide the bells. You can have some fun. You can bring your family. We can have more than 2 people at the deal. When a volunteer bell rings, they get almost double than if there's a paid person just ringing. So we're helping in a lot of ways, and it's fun. It's
Good.
fun. I know there's some people that don't love it, but I think it's great.
Mhm.
So come find me. I'm gonna come find you, and we'll get it going. And if
Perfect.
I have a lot of response, we'll take another day.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and finish up here. Ruby, how'd you choose?
Oh, yeah.